Hello everyone, Dan Swift here, founder and CEO at Numentum, and welcome to the Speaker Series, where we spotlight some of the most interesting minds in the world of revenue generation. At Numentum, we help forward-thinking B2B organizations create better buyer experiences and deliver new momentum to their revenue engine. On this episode of the Speaker Series, we speak with EG Chief Marketing Officer, Michelle McCann. We have a great conversation around career progressions, startups versus large corporations, and the importance of digital connections. Michelle, welcome to the Speaker Series.
Thank you very much, Dan. I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. Well, let's jump straight in. Now, we worked together back in 2008, I think it was, taking you way back for about 3 years at a company called Complinet. And for everyone listening, Complinet was ultimately acquired by Thomson Reuters. And we've stayed in touch and I've watched your career blow up over the years. It's been absolutely amazing to watch. So why don't you kick us off by telling us just a little bit about EG and what you're focused on right now as the CMO?
Sure. Well, thanks. That's quite an introduction. Thank you. Yes, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at EG. What we do is we're an established provider of data, news, and analytics products in the commercial property market. Most specifically, a product called EG Radius, which is the only data sharing platform, contributory data sharing platform in the UK. With that, what are we focused on at EG right now? Well, we're in a new phase of building the business. And what I most recently worked on is our new brand, which launched in May, which it was a challenge through COVID. So it was quite a long process, but one that was well worth it. And it wasn't done just to look pretty. It was done to really demonstrate that this is a demarcation in our growth as a company. And really show that we want to be the world's leading provider of data and analytics solutions in the commercial property market. So it was quite ambitious and very exciting. Right now, we focus primarily on go-to-market activities, building our infrastructure with transparent reporting to the rest of the business of how marketing's performing, and not just doing well, what we can do to improve.
Amazing. Well, I'm going to bring you back to EG momentarily, but we're going to have a lot of people listening to this who maybe are earlier on in their careers and they're looking and listening to this interview today and thinking, well, maybe I want to be a CMO one day and I want to be in charge of people and running a business unit perhaps. So let's talk a little bit about your career progression. Now, I did some digging. I know you a little bit, but I went on LinkedIn, obviously, and I see that you actually started your career as a technical writer. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
So how do you go from technical writer? How did that start? Yeah. And then how do you get into marketing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the way to put it is that I graduated at first with a degree. I had a business and marketing degree, but I also had an English degree. So I knew how to write. And I knew I wanted to be in business, but I didn't really know what that meant. So I moved myself from New York all the way to California. And my first job was a company working as a technical writer because I said, I know how to write. I think I can figure it out. And they gave me that opportunity. And how I moved my career from as a technical writer is because I could write, I got asked to do a lot of other writing. So it was, could you write a brochure? Could you write a letter? Could you help us with a press release? And the truth is I didn't really know how to do a lot of that stuff, but I figured it out. And I did the research and looked and copied best practice. And it eventually evolved into getting that opportunity to demonstrate that I actually knew how to do marketing, and it revealed itself into, rolled out into new opportunities.
And talk us through the journey, right? So you're a CMO now, but you've had different roles at different companies, and you've had different responsibilities, and you've almost, it looks like you've done all different aspects of marketing throughout your career. So as you're going through that career, what are your key learnings to people who would eventually maybe want to be a CMO one day?
Well, I think there's two different schools of thought. I can explain what mine is that sometimes people get pigeonholed into one aspect of marketing. I know how product marketing, and they stick with that. And there's nothing wrong with that if they'd like to grow their career that way. But what for me was branching out and not being afraid of trying new things. So like I described, is that I may have got hired to do communications, but then that would move into other aspects of marketing. Also not being afraid of things that I hadn't done before, like pricing. How do you price something? Don't know. I've never done this before. What does value mean? How much is something worth? How much is someone willing to pay? So I remember one of the challenges at Complinet was we were going to decide how we were going to price one of the products, and it was marketing needs to be involved. Okay. So thinking, I'm not exactly sure, but I learned, and I think it was learning from people like yourself and others of what the value of something is, and then taking that and then understanding that value. And where the marketing piece came in was, what does that value really mean to the client, to the prospect, and really capturing the essence of that and putting that into words and communication to try to help facilitate driving bottom line revenue.
Now, you mentioned Complinet, right? So we both worked there for 3 years, and I feel very fortunate to. I did a long stint. I was there for sort of 12 years. When you look at Complinet's Thomson Reuters, but I feel very fortunate because as a small company, I think it was maybe 200 employees by the time we got acquired, maybe a few more. You get exposed to lots at a small company, and I feel as I was able to take a lot of that into my career, and so whereas with the company you're at now, EG, it's part of a much larger organization. So do you see EG as a startup? Do you see it as a mature business because it's 100 and something plus years, or is it part of the larger Relics organization, or is it a little bit of everything?
It is a little bit of everything. I think what's unique, I've worked at larger corporations, and we've worked at as a startup in California, and they're very different cultures. One thing that's really unique about EG is that because it's small, because it's very focused in what it does, it has, just for me, and I think for many, the right cultural, there has to be that right fit. It's got that right culture. It's not too big that people can't come up with new ideas, that there's too much bureaucracy. And at time we're expanding and growing, so we do need to put some structures in place in order to make sure that we're all aligned. And I think that one thing that we really I think is something really unique that EG brings is their focus on diversity and inclusion, sustainability, mental health. And it's something that can, for some, in some aspects of business, seem a bit fluffy, but it's not. It's really at the core of our values of what we think is important. And I think it aligns with RELX as a wider corporation, is that we have that luxury of availing from all the opportunities they provide us. So it is a little of both. We can share best practice across other businesses, whereas when you're in a startup that's VC funded, you're kind of on your own. You're just relying on all the talent in the team and kind of as many people as you can bring in. And what we're lucky is we have so much talent in the team, but we also have other businesses that we can share ideas with, which I often do. I do as often as I can, and shoot my team in the right direction to other companies of people working in that department that can help them with different skill sets. But RELX as an organization has been incredibly supportive. And I know of others that wouldn't be as fortunate. And that there's been different companies treating people differently through this time, but the amount of support and for employees and understanding, and as well as trying to help us and make sure that we keep the business going, has been pretty incredible.
And what a year as well, like 12, 15 months of working from home and in the UK, long lockdowns, and then launching a brand essentially remotely. I mean, I don't know of anyone else who's actually done it and done it so successfully. So how was that? Talk to us about that.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. It started in January of 2020. We're going to read the company for all the right reasons. This is a new phase in our transformation. I immediately got on board Design House, which is an agency I'd worked with in the past, who are excellent, and they were available. and this was going to work out. And suddenly one day we were all working from home. So I was fortunate to have the trust and the knowledge of how we could all work together. And the internal teams, many had not been part of a brand launch. So the way I would best describe this is we had a senior leadership team who had to make decisions, which virtually presented some challenges, but at the same time, there was a great debate, a lot of honesty, really good sharing of ideas, but it was that partnership with the agency as well. And I think what we did that made all the difference, which everyone should do, was reaching out to clients, asking their opinion of what they thought of us, not just what the brand looks like, but what they thought of us and what was important about EG and why we're important in the marketplace. And I think one of the things that came out of it that was so surprising, and just because it was so remarkable, is it was such a difficult time trying to get everyone on board, trying to get the employees, did an employee survey, made sure they felt a part of everything. But it was that our clients said that what they thought our unfair advantage was that they trust us, that they want us to succeed. And it was true. And they contributed and made such a difference in what our end result was and what our new values, our mission and our vision, and also that our employees, that we put our people first, and how true it is and how important it is. So building a brand meant bringing everybody together, getting all their input, taking that additional time. And I did have times that I wanted to just make a decision. But it can't just be one person. It's not just about me. I mean, I led it, and I'm really proud of that. And it took all those years of experience to see how it was done well, and sometimes maybe when it wasn't done so well. And I really tried to take the best of what I learned, got everybody on board, made sure they didn't just feel a part of it, but that they actually were a part of it. And and it took a while, but we finally got there. Well, I think it took 15, 16 months, but it emerged.
It looks incredible. It feels incredible. And we'll talk a little bit about, we'll pivot a bit into Empire momentarily, but obviously we work with you now and your sales team, and you can see they feel proud of what you've built, and they're taking that to market on socials. So, phenomenal job.
Thanks. And they were a big part of it. We did ask sales, and their input was important about what they thought. So thank you.
So you were a member of the leadership team that brought Empire Selling into EG, and we started the journey relatively recently, a couple of months ago. So why did you bring us in, and then what have you seen in the first couple of months?
Sure. Well, what we needed to do is, for one thing, we have a great sales team, great foundation. We've been in a very traditional market, and so some initial feedback when I joined the company was that, this is a very traditional market. A lot of business is done face-to-face. And we needed to grow that skill set and educate our teams and the wider company that actually everything is digital and it's moving digital and how important that is. And so when I still recall when you and Rich and I had a conversation, we talked about it, and that we knew that there was a gap in the skill set and understanding of how to use LinkedIn Navigator, and understand that you can come across as and how important knowing your content and make connections online and how important they are, and that you can do it virtually, and that you can put yourself forward as a leader and take charge of your own knowledge of the industry and make those connections. And I think the thing that has struck me the most since we started, and we finally got there. Of course, we know why it was a bit delayed, right? That's the story of the day. But is I think the biggest impact that I see so far is not only the expertise and knowledge, approach and humor and what you and the team bring. It's just how rapidly, how quickly, and how transformational it already is in such a short amount of time. And it's pretty remarkable. And as you mentioned, how the team has got behind it. And I'm sure, like most people are, when they're going to learn something new, they're excited, but they're a little nervous. And you can just see the confidence that it's brought to the team and what a difference it's already making in how they're interacting with customers and prospects.
Amazing. Well, we enjoy working with them as well, because not every group of people are willing to take the risk, right, and jump in and try something new, and they are. And what I love about seeing, like, in my LinkedIn feed, I'm learning about EG myself because of the content that they're putting out there. But I want to read it because it's been put out in a very human way, right? Yes. So I think they're doing a phenomenal job.
I do too, and I'm glad they've really embraced it and got behind it. And I think, I think that's part of the culture of EG, and it's they know what good looks like, and I think that the training already, and they can see what good looks like, and it's you and the team and what you bring to it, and it's that content, it's the quality of the training that's been, I think, made all the difference.
Amazing. Well, thank you. Well, let's talk about passions now. Obviously, you're passionate about marketing, you're passionate about brand and everything that goes with it. But what else? Let's learn a little bit about you, the human being. What else drives you?
Oh, let's see. I think what drives me work-wise is really spending that time with my team. I think it's really driving them to marketing excellence, how excited they get about hitting their lead targets. And I'm really passionate about it. I'm really passionate about growing their careers and their skill sets. And I look forward to it every day, genuinely, wholeheartedly every day. Personally, I have enjoyed a little bit of renovation here at the house, and mine is Irish history research, which I've been working on a book for quite a while, some time now, that I'm hoping to launch later this, submit later this year. Yeah.
Can you share any more about it, or is it secret, under wraps?
It's not secret, but it is a Coroner's Casebooks. It is about death and murder and politics in County Monaghan during the famine and after. So it's 1846 to 78. So somehow, I love it. And it's great fun. And I think I really encourage other people to have a passion outside of work, because for many years I was just solely dedicated on work, and it's paid off. And I mean, I'm really, really delighted with my career, but it's so important to spend that time with your family. It's important to have another passion, because for some time I was a bit worried, if I had a hobby, and that is my hobby. I love it. But if I had that, I shouldn't talk about it at work, because I wasn't working all the time. And I'm wrong. I mean, you talked about like what makes people human. I think you have to have something else, other things in your life that make you happy. And I think that's, for me anyway, helped me switch off from work and make me a bit more focused and feel a bit, that I've had a break in the evening, and that I've had a break on the weekends. And I think that's really worked well for me.
I love that. And hasn't it been interesting where the last 15 months, I think for me personally, I'd love to hear your take on this. I struggled to adapt to work from home because I'm so used to being on the road, traveling around, going to events, speaking, training, and I struggled. But then fast forward 15 months, I've got very comfortable to a point where my work-life integration piece is on point, But talk to me about how's it been for you? Are you back in the office now? I see you at home today, but are you tiptoeing back into the office? Where are you now?
Well, I'm at home, and our RELX and RSG Risk Solutions Group, we're part of a group of companies. What we're trying to do is focus on what's the best way to bring everyone back. People have had childcare, not childcare or childcare issues. People afraid if they haven't had their vaccine. So no one's been under pressure to go back to the office, and they've done it with real professionalism and care. And where we're at right now is we're all still working from home. It's optional. You can ask to go to the office if you choose to, which I did recently, which was just glorious. I loved work, and I really do like working from home. So our plan, at least in the short term, is that we're shooting for September, that be returning to work. We still have some things to work out in terms of how many days, but the general understanding is going to be that it's going to be flexible. It'll be 3 days in the office, and people still will be working from home. Those who would like to go in Monday through Friday, I don't think it's going to be a problem, but I shouldn't say. It's been very flexible, very supportive. And for myself personally, I like the mix of both. It's helped me have, I think, a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Now, we talked about passion. Arguably, the opposite of passion can be frustration or friction. So, what's a non-starter for you personally? What if there's one thing that frustrates you most about business or life or people? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my thing is that it's one thing to be hardcore business. We're not all on Wall Street, buy, sell, but everybody's quite driven, and most want to be successful. I think for me, over my career, and I think how I feel now is I think the non-starter for me is a lack of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you can provide critical thinking, constructive feedback to people, interact with people, and it can be done with tact and professionalism and kindness and empathy. And lack of empathy is a non-starter for me. Since the pandemic, I've seen the worst and best of people. I think one thing that's been really positive, sincerely really positive, is we talk about working virtually, is how people came together and you were really supporting each other, and a lot more understanding and knowing people better, and understanding that, they finding out people's kids' names were and their pets coming on screen, and actually having a chit chat rather than it's just a meeting and you end it. And I think that's been the one thing in terms of, while has been frustrating at the start, I think that's the one thing that to really embrace is how the people that with the right values have come together.
Amazing, totally agree. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's do a quick fire round with the time we have left. So we've got some questions for you, a bit random, all over the map by design. So let's see what we got. So you ready?
Okay.
You look nervous.
Oh, no.
Okay, here we go. Question number one, Michelle, who is your hero?
Oh, rapid fire. I have to say two. It has to be my parents. They gave me the right work ethic, encouraged my education, and I think they instilled the right values.
Love it. Best sales kickoff you've ever been to, and why?
Oh gosh. Okay. Best sale and why? Okay. Best sales kickoff. It was actually a trifecta: Singapore, New York, and Chicago within 2 weeks of each other. Kind of whirlwind trip for all those reasons.
Wow.
It was January, February 2019.
Amazing. Are you a morning lark or a night owl?
Night owl.
Last Halloween costume?
Oh God, that'd be probably a princess. That was a long time ago.
Now, what's your favorite city in the world?
Ooh, that's hard. Oof. Okay, I'll try to pick one. Traveled a lot, been a lot of places. I think my favorite city in the world is London. And I say that because it's so multicultural. The most languages spoke. It's vibrant, it's fun, and the history, and yeah, that'd be my pick.
Now I know you mentioned that you have traveled a lot. If there's one country or city that you've never been to before that you'd like to go to, what would it be?
Beijing. Because I was in Hong Kong. I didn't make it to mainland China. If you know, I would love to. I'd like to see the Great Wall, Tiananmen Square, the whole bit, the food, everything.
What brings you joy?
Sunshine in the UK.
Yep. How many cups of coffee do you have a day?
Oh, I don't want. We're gonna too many. I'm going to say 4+, which I need to cut down.
That's what we're here for, just to bring the favorite manager ever, and why?
Well, it would have to be my current manager, of course. And why would it be? I mean, he's a smart guy. I've worked with him for quite some time at 2 different places now. He's a smart guy. He's compassionate. He doesn't have to have all the answers. He knows how to build teams, and he knows how to build the right kind of culture and build a business.
Amazing. What would you tell your younger self?
Ooh, I'd say be patient. Be prepared for anything. Good things take time.
And last question for you. So what's your best piece of advice for a recent college or university graduate listening to this?
Oof. I would say be original, be your true self, be prepared for anything. And I think to me, I think one of the most important things is to surround yourself with people who give you confidence. Stay away from the negatives, focus on the positives, and stick with people who support you and give you confidence.
Amazing. We're going to wrap on that because I think that's fantastic. So, Michelle, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. Really, really appreciate you.
Thanks. I really appreciate it, Dan.